Senator McCain has shaped the debate on a number of national issues, from campaign finance reform to the use of torture. As the ranking Republican member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, it's been a key voice on Afghanistan, Iraq, and the Arab Spring. I am pleased to have John McCain back at this table.
Thank you for having me back, Charlie. Now, in Egypt, my friend, it's a dicey situation. But we also have to understand that, Charlie, Mubarak was going to go. Whether we wanted him to go or not, he was going to go. When that young man set himself on fire in Tunisia, that lit a flame that's not going to go out for a long time and is going to spread all around the world.
But does it have to go through a period in which, in fact, there will be governments coming to power that are akin to the Muslim Brotherhood?
I think it depends on what you call the Muslim Brotherhood. There are elements of the Muslim Brotherhood that I think we can work with and we can be reasonable. There are other elements in the Salafists and others that we obviously cannot.
But in some cases they're being elected to Parliament. In some cases they're,
and I have met with the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. He says a lot of the right things. He's a very wealthy man. I think there is an understanding in Egypt that that they don't think an extremist government should take charge. But remember, these may be Islamic governments. Israel has a Jewish government. I mean, that's what it is.
Well, in fact, they want to be defined as a Jewish state. That's one of the principal arguments that the Prime Minister makes today.
Right.
So part of the negotiating.
So we can help and we can assist, but they are going to determine their own future. And it's dicey, their relations with Israel. As you know, they just canceled the pipeline deal that was part of the Camp David agreements even. So there is a real risk there. And it's well known, Egypt is the heart and soul of the Arab world. But look, it's up to the Egyptians in many ways, and we can assist, but they certainly don't want us to dictate. But this Arab Spring is not something that we could have extinguished. It's going around.
We didn't start it, nor can we put it out.
It's in Russia. You're going to see. You've seen elements of it in China. You've seen some elements even here in our country. And there's also the anti-Israel card, as you know. Right. One of the reasons why the Egyptians just canceled the pipeline with Israel is this anti-Israel card, and some of their politicians are playing it. So that's also a careful balance we have to maintain. So as long as they don't think we are dictating to them. I mean, Egypt's in terrible financial condition. They've got $1.3 billion in U.S. military aid, IMF loan, a forgiveness of a debt that they have of several $billion, and all of that we have to orchestrate carefully so that we can help them, but at the same time not alienate them. Look, Charlie, I am worried about Egypt. Don't get me wrong. I am worried.
You are.
I am, but I think we can work our way through this, and we don't have a choice. Does anybody believe that Mubarak was going to stay in power? Absolutely not.
Would you believe the Army is going to stay in power?
Boy, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I know that the Army really is committed to the proposition that they will maintain their unique place in Egyptian society and economy. So whether they're going to be able to orchestrate that or not, I think is not clear.
Any cases where we are giving aid that you would say use that as a weapon, as leverage against a government to say, unless you change, whether it is Egypt or any other government?
One, I think it's got to be made very clear to them that after these elections, I wouldn't do anything before these elections, which are going to take place in June, because it might be used, you know, for obvious reasons, what it might mean during.
Might hurt the candidates over there because they're seen as a tool.
Yeah, but after that, depending on what they do with these NGOs, as you know, they're even contacted Interpol. And by the way, for the benefit of our viewers, NGOs are in National Democratic Institute, International Republican Institute, Freedom House. We're over there helping them with democracy. They not only threw them out of the country, but they wanted to charge them, which is so. Unless there is progress in these areas, then, and we have sent the message to them.
Unless there's progress in these areas,
then I think you're going to see curtailment of
military and economic aid.
I think, and it has to be measured. It has to be done in a mature fashion. It has to be done in as comprehensive and cohesive fashion as possible. But we cannot continue to render that kind of support if they're going to go the direction. We're not telling them what direction they have to go, but there is a price to pay if you go on a path that we don't agree with, just like the same way we should treat dictatorships.